What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance Crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today we're going to be watching a video that this was one of the videos that I recorded that got deleted, and so I have already seen this video. It was just two videos though. It was this, and it was my reaction to the latest, not latest, but the season 4, episode 6 of Rick and Morty, I believe. Both of them got deleted, so just know I have seen those videos as well as this video as well. But that's actually, it doesn't matter because this video, I wasn't going into it necessarily to like watch and see what it was about because I am from America, so I know the do's and don'ts of visiting America. The reason I was reacting to this is because as an American and as someone who has a lot of subscribers that aren't from America, I thought it would be interesting to react to this video and give an opinion on some of the things that appear in this video, and just like a second opinion on whether or not some of the things are true, some of the things aren't, or to possibly further explain certain things. I thought that would be interesting because the first time I watched this, there was a lot that I had to say. I can tell you right now, when I did do the reaction, the video that came out of it was over an hour long. Now, it's probably good that that video got deleted because now I can try to streamline my commentary to make sure it's not as long as the original video. So, yeah, this would be a good video to let you know what to do and what not to do when you visit America. And because my previous video was an hour long, you know I got a lot to say about it. So let's jump into it. This video was made by Wolters World. I will have a link for their channel at the last 30 seconds of this video. It'll pop up as a, I want to say an icon, but it'll pop up as something right over here somewhere. And it'll pop up as an icon that you can click on. It'll take you to their channel. You can watch their other videos because they have a lot of, this is like a series. They have a lot of do's and don'ts of visiting different countries. This is just the United States version. And I will have a link for the original video in case you want to watch it without me pausing and talking over it, or if you want to react to it yourself. So there's that as well. Let's go ahead and get this started because I've done enough talking, and hopefully this video doesn't end up being over an hour long.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do.
I will be pausing after every point.
It's going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going, all this stuff, and my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have to...
Hold up, let's pause, okay. Now, the whole space thing. First of all, I think all of us can agree nobody likes someone getting all up in their space. That's just the truth. Now, one thing I will say with Americans that I don't think it's exclusive to us, but it's something that you should know. The issue isn't necessarily getting in someone's space, but more so lack of acknowledgement that you're in someone's space. If I'm walking somewhere and you come by, you're real close or something, if you come through and just say, hey, excuse me, I just got to get past you. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, you know, be rude or be too much in your way or anything. And you like scoot past, no problem. All right. As long as you're not there for too long, it's like, all right, no problem. Here, you go ahead and do your thing. Go to where you need to go to, and that's it. But if you just run up on me and then just like in my space and then just leave, I don't give a damn how fast you were there. Like, you're going to acknowledge me in some way. Like, excuse you. You're going to say excuse me or sorry or something. That happens a lot, like a lot of times with people that I want to say are kind of foreign. They tend to do that. Like they'll either kind of be in your way, or they will get real close to you in the situations where it happens. they'll get real close to you or they'll be in your way, but then it's like they won't acknowledge that you're there. And you're like, I'm right here. You just jumped right in front of me and you didn't say anything. You going to say sorry or, excuse me or something? So, yeah, if you're going to get in someone's personal space, make sure you let them know that you're about to get in their personal space and you're going to try to be as quick as you can and you don't mean anything by it. Now, if somebody gives you issues after that and it's something that you have to do, then they're just being a dick.
Really affectionate, like that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation. Look, when we were in China and we were throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed. Here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport and it'll take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, and middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good. And at night, sometimes it's not very safe. So that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that kind of leads into the next...
Okay. As far as public transport is concerned, he's right about this. There's the only places to get good public transport really is very crowded cities. And the reason why public transport is so important to those areas is because it's a nightmare driving in those cities. New York, Chicago, LA, you're going to have a ton of traffic. You're going to have jams and blocks and all this other stuff that's going to make driving a nightmare. So usually people use public transport in order to get around all that. Now, usually those areas get crowded, but when public transport gets crowded, all it is just less space for you to have. But you still can get to your places on time if you schedule everything right. Had those areas not had as much people, there would be hardly no public transport. America very much cares about like using cars. Like we are not one of them countries where we depend a lot on public transport. Like you get a car and you use it. Like that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can like elaborate on before I move on, but yeah, I mean, if you come here, if you're in a smaller town, it's probably better to just rent a car. Some places have buses, like in Ohio, I know for sure especially Central Ohio, we have, I believe it's called COTA buses, Central Ohio Transit Agency or something like that. It's a bus system. We ride buses all the time. I haven't ridden it since I was a child, but we have a decent bus system. Most places don't even have that. But yeah, it's a heads up. If you come to America, try to rent a car. If you can't rent a car, then use an Uber or something like that. But because you're not really going to run into a lot of taxis and stuff outside of New York. If you do want to use a taxi, you probably have to call them from like the Yellow Pages or something, or a phone book. Yeah, but Uber, that's probably the best thing you can use, I guess.
What I have for you is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from, I'm going to do, from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to L.A. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. The distances here are insane. So what I recommend is picking a region. So, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England. Or we're going to go in the southeast, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that. Or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that. But also, it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home just for lunch. 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours when we start to think That kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through. Okay,
Oh,
this isn't
man.
like, oh, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no, no, no.
Holy hell.
No, no, no. We drive all the way through, okay? Now, my next.
I wish you would have seen my reaction when I first heard him say that. I mean, obviously it's different for each person, but I can guarantee you a majority of Americans do not spend 6 hours in a car and think that it's not a big deal. Hell no. In America, we have, I'd say like every 30 minutes or so on the freeway, there's a truck stop or something that you can go to, a rest station where you can stop at that has like an area for trucks, but then there's an area that might have some indoor fast food places like Burger Kings and things like that, vending machines, bathrooms, things like just to stop and eat and rest and things like that. So yes, we do rest a lot on our trips. We do not take no 6 hour trips and just be driving all the way through. That does not happen. And maybe he does it. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but there's a reason we have so many rest stops. I have family that lives about 6 hours away, and I visit them once every probably 3 years. It's not something you do every day, not at all. He is right about don't underestimate the size of America. If you want to experience America, I'd say pick a region. Figure out what you want to do. If you want to go out west and visit California and Las Vegas, that's usually like one area that you can spend time in. If you want to go to Texas, then go there. If you want to experience like Southern America, then go to like Florida or Louisiana, North Carolina, somewhere around that area. If you want to visit the Northeast, go and check out New Hampshire or Maine or Rhode Island, or that's where you're gonna get all the like seafood stuff and very strong like fishing community, as well as like Massachusetts and stuff. That's a good city for get a decent amount of city life, but still get the Northeast experience. New York, Pennsylvania, that always works out. If you want to visit the Midwest, there's Chicago. There's there's Chicago. Oh man, there's a lot of people out Midwest that are pissed off. Even hey, I'm from Ohio, and I still wouldn't recommend visiting Ohio. It's rather boring, unless you're a fan of like college football and you care about the Buckeyes. We don't really have much else outside of that, so I'd say go to Chicago. Always know what area of Chicago you're going to. Some areas can be kind of crazier than others, but I mean, if you stay within the big city and stay within like the north side and I believe the east side, you should be good. But I could be wrong. Make sure you do your research first. But yeah, there's a lot of places you can visit America to get a decent American experience.
Stone for you when you come here is don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the U.S. we have sales tax. I know other countries they have VAT, value-added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, oh, it's $1 or €1, oh, I only pay €1. In the U.S. it is not like that. We have sales tax, so a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. It can be different anywhere you go. So if you're gonna go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not gonna be $1. Where I live, there's two cities right by where I live. One, it's gonna be $1.08. The other one, it's gonna be $1.09. So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that.
Okay. So sales tax, certain areas have it, certain areas don't. My recommendation is to always assume sales tax is 10%. So whatever you buy, expect to add 10% to that price. I believe it also depends on the product, because I believe if you get a something from like a fast food place, for example. Certain foods will have taxes and certain foods will not have taxes. Or maybe certain food will have taxes and others will have added taxes. Because I know, like, for example, when it comes to getting things with like sugar and stuff in it, that adds an extra tax. So if you get a soda, it's going to have more tax than, say, just a regular burger or something. Um, Certain, like, sometimes food don't have taxes, but it really depends. The value over tax, I don't know why they don't just do that. I think it has something to do with maybe the illusion of a better deal that you're getting, because that's the reason why, like, we have, like, when we sell stuff, it always says like $4.99 instead of $5, because the fact that the four is in front of instead of the five, it makes it seem cheaper than what it actually is. It just is more appealing to the eye, I guess. If you look at two things and one is $4.99 and one is $5, your eye is automatically going to jump to the $4.99. So they don't do value over taxes because usually that's going to throw it over that amount. But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to me in the end. America does a lot of stupid things that other countries have been doing smart for a long time, and I'm just wondering when it's going to be our turn. When is it going to finally come to the point where we start doing common sense crap? But then, knowing how America works, if we did try to do value added taxes, they'll probably scream communism or some shit and find some way to get it blacklisted. I don't know.
That leads us into the fifth don't, and that is don't forget to tip. Look, in the U.S., you tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place, but it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the U.S., there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the U.S. It's because there's kind of this understanding that the service fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping, and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that. But they don't, okay? So tipping is something we do here in the U.S., so do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're going to want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink.
Okay, so when it comes to tipping, a couple things he mentioned that I could talk about. One, restaurants probably won't remember you if you don't tip, as long as it's not something like gratuitous. Like, if you're at a place and you spend $15 on a meal and you don't tip, they're probably not going to remember you. Like, they're going to be pissed off, but they're not going to remember you. Now, if you spend like $500, $600 on something and you don't tip, then they're going to remember you. Like, if you do something to make yourself stand out, like make a big order like that, and then you don't tip, then they'll know. They'll be sure to mark you down or memorize you or something. But if it's something small, there are so many situations throughout the day where people don't tip for stuff like that. They probably won't remember you, so don't take it too hard. 15 to 20% isn't required. I believe the general accepted number is 12%, but that's like the very like minimum that you should give at least. So some people always feel they should give 15 to 20% because if you give 12, it makes you come off as cheap. So normally 15 to 20% is the accepted. 15 is usually the amount everybody tends to give. It's kind of like a speed limit. The speed limit is the most you should go. Most people consider that like the bare minimum suggestion. You go a little bit above that. So I would say tip 15%. If they're doing a good job, tip 20. If you want to give more than that, feel free to do it. But usually 15% and then 20% on top of that. Also, he mentioned something towards the end, but I kind of forgot what it was. But it didn't seem like it was that important, so I'll probably just move on. But yeah, America's a tipping country. I think he was talking about the the politics behind tipping. I believe the whole thing of tipping has something to do with a racist policy that was done back in the day to keep uh, restaurants from paying minority workers more. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what I read. And before anybody jumps down, oh, everything has to be about race. In this case, it does. I mean, we can't help it that most of the stuff that tends to be an issue in America tends to center around race because America was founded on a very racist foundation. It just was. But yeah, I believe that was the case. I could be wrong. If anybody has any information, let me know. But I think personally, restaurants should pay workers more. They shouldn't depend on the customer to make up the difference that they aren't willing to pay. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, since this is the system we have, try to give because those people do depend on that. I believe most restaurants only pay their waitresses and waiters like $3 to $4 an hour and expect you to pay the rest. Expect the customer to pay the rest through tips. So the waiters and stuff depend on that money to, they have livelihood.
So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the U.S. Look, because of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the U.S., the people actually are pretty nice and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread, I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal, okay? Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out, all right? You actually have to order some food when you go there.
Technically, that's not necessarily true. It depends on if those are appetizers. Some restaurants will have chips, breadsticks, dinner rolls, whatever else as free meals if you get an entree. But if you go in and just want those things specifically, then I mean you'd have to pay for it, but you can get those things by themselves. Yeah, in America, restaurants, in particular, sit-down restaurants where you have to go in, get a menu, place an order, and they bring you the food. They almost always give you some type of free appetizer or free refill on your drinks. That's how it always works. Depending on the restaurant, they might have different types of appetizers. Like most family, like just regular family restaurants, like steakhouses and stuff, they usually have like dinner rolls, salads, things like that they would give you for free. And if you eat an entire basket of it, they'll just bring you another basket full of it. When it comes to like Mexican restaurants, they'll usually give you like free tortilla chips and things like that. And sometimes they come with like salsa. Sometimes they're just chips by themselves with nothing on them. Sometimes they're chips with a little bit extra on them, like cheese and with a thing of salsa next to them that you can dip them in and stuff. Those are usually free. You can eat as many of those as you want. If you finish it off, they'll give you some more. When it comes to drinks, when you buy a drink, you have to buy the first drink, of course. But after that, you get free refills usually. So they will, half the time they won't even ask you if you want a refill. They'll come through with a pitcher and then just like fill your cup up while you're eating. The cup doesn't even have to be empty. If it just looks halfway done, they'll just come through and like fill it back up again. So I don't know if that might freak anybody out, but just know that if you go to a sit-down restaurant and you get some type of free appetizer or something, just know usually that means that they're going to keep you there or they're going to keep giving it to you over and over again. But that's the free appetizers. They do have appetizers you have to pay for, and if you get those, then those aren't going to be refilled. Like if you want something complicated like potato skins or chicken wings or anything like that, usually that's just a one-time thing. But smaller stuff like breadsticks, rolls, salads, things like that tend to be infinite.
Now my next don't for you is don't smoke cigarettes in the U.S. if you're smoking cigarettes in the U.S., people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally verboten. Like people really frown upon it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette 2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke-free. It's smoke-free, so you got to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things, so that can be something. So I've come here outside my favorite liquor store.
Okay, I think this goes to the next one. It's funny that he, like, the way he talks about it, you can tell there's kind of a bias there. I would imagine he's a smoker, or maybe smoked at one point, and he doesn't like the new rules of smoking. It's not necessarily new. It's something that's kind of like transitioned. I'd say within like the last 10 to 15 years, America has like just moved over to a country that just doesn't really smoke that much anymore. First, it started off with like when I was younger, we had like in restaurants and stuff, there would be sections. You would have one section that was non-smoking and one section that was smoking. So you go to one area of the restaurant and it's nothing, and the other area would be like a cloud of smoke, that entire, like a very smoky atmosphere. Then at some point they moved smoking outside, where you had to go outside to smoke. And then in some areas they have it where you can't smoke on the property. Like the job that I work at, it has a policy where you can't smoke on the property at all. That includes the parking lot or anything like that. So you have to go across the street in order to smoke a cigarette or something. So yeah, a lot of places do not play when it comes to smoking. Now, it's not like they're going to like harass you or anything, but they'll let you know like, hey, you're not supposed to be smoking over here, and point you to the smoking area. Some places have designated smoking areas, like they might have a table with an umbrella or something set up with one of those smoke things that you would deposit smoke your buds in. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. I think most of it has to do with, one, the smoking, the smoke in general just agitates people around you, the ones that don't smoke in particular. Also because people tend to just throw their buds wherever, and it causes a mess. And also there are situations where some people tend to throw their cigarettes away in trash cans, and that can lead to fires. I've seen that happen in particular at one job I worked at. So yeah, usually they just no smoking.
To give you the next don't, and that is, don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21, or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the US. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID, because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that. And don't get mad at them, because if they don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor, or they want to buy alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just FYI on that one. Oh, that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you look, so like me, usually people don't ask me for ID if I choose to buy cigarettes or alcohol. I don't drink or smoke, but sometimes if I'm shopping for somebody, they might ask to if I can get them cigarettes or whatever, and so I have to go and get it. They don't ask me for ID usually, but there are situations where they will ask you for ID, and you have to make sure that you have your ID on you, usually at all times. But yeah, that's how it is. I do have a funny story about when I worked at Walmart, and this is something that I mentioned in the previous video, but it didn't get up, so I'll say it now. I used to be it was actually my very first job working, like period. The first job I ever had, I was a cashier at Walmart. I was working in the register area, obviously. And there was this woman that came, and I don't know if she bought alcohol or if it was cigarettes, but it was one of them. Now, this woman had to be every bit of, I'd say like 80 plus years old. Like straight white hair, Betty White looking, everything. Just I don't want to say just old. But me being the first time I ever, worked anywhere, And this was like the very beginning, like the first couple weeks of me having my very first job. So I'm very technical by the book. I want to make sure I got everything down. I'm not trying to cut any corners. I'm not trying to step on any toes or ruffle any feathers. I'm trying to make sure I'm doing this job perfectly. So at Walmart, whenever you have somebody buy a product that requires a certain age range, the register will tell you to enter a birthday to make sure that this person is of legal age. It doesn't say like enter their age or anything like that. It just says enter their birthday. Now, my dumbass at the time was thinking, oh man, I can't enter a fake birthday because what if they come back and, try to verify the birthday and realize that the birthday is wrong? How the hell would they ever do that? I don't know why I wasn't thinking. This was just a naive teenager working at Walmart. And by teenager, I mean I just turned 18. I don't know why I didn't think that, just enter a damn birthday. But sadly, and I'm going to tell you guys, this is 100% truth. I asked this woman for her ID. This 80-plus-year-old woman that has solid white hair for her ID. Now, she laughed about it, and she did end up, telling me her birthday, and I entered it in. But I felt like a straight up idiot after I did that. I felt like I was in an unwinnable situation. I can't just make something up because then I end up getting fired or something. But I didn't want to ask her for a birthday neither because this woman is obviously over 18 or 21 or whatever the hell the thing was required for her to buy. But, oh man, that I still think about that to this day. It's crazy. But, yeah, always have your ID, even if you're 80. Apparently.
It's also another don't I have for you is don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you. But honestly, you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay? So just do that because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here. So our next...
It depends on what you're using, I guess, because on a lot of our food, we have both the imperial and the metric system. Like, for example, this water bottle that I have right here. It's just generic bottled water, so hopefully I'm not giving anybody any free press. But if you can see it, it has fluid ounces, which is, I believe, the metric version. And it has... No, fluid ounces is the imperial, I believe. And it has milliliters. So you can see both of those are listed here. And then in foods, something I just got finished eating, actually, before I started recording. This is a particular cheese ball. I'm not going to advertise it, even though they're freaking delicious. Where's it at? Well, I have to advertise it, I guess. I can't hide all this. But as you can see, it has ounces and it has grams. Usually that's how foods work. They have ounces and grams. Almost every food has both of them. So technically, on that aspect, you don't have to worry about conversion. But when it comes to signs, if you're driving and you see a sign that says next exit this far, yeah, you're not going to get any metric signs for that. Outside of it being printed on foods, you're not going to get anything as far as metrics. So, yeah, you might want to... Nowadays, everybody has cell phones, so obviously you can just pull out your phone, pull up an app, and convert from one measurement system to another. Not really too much of a problem. But, yeah, if you don't have any method of, converting, then you're probably going to have an issue.
Imperial
we
system,
need to move
okay?
to metric.
We don't do that so much here.
We really do need to.
So our next don't is when you do come to the U.S.
I'm sorry. We do need to, but again, that's one of those situations where somebody might scream communism, and we don't get it because, that bullcrap, fear-mongering stuff.
Because metric, we don't do that so much here. So our next don't is when you do come to the U.S., there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics, talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today and we could go sailing? Yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just putting that one out there for you right now.
Now, this point was interesting because he specifically mentioned gun control, which I would consider gun control and politics to be like one and the same pretty much. Like, if you talk about politics, gun control is usually one of the things in there that you might end up talking about. So the fact that he specifically mentioned gun control makes me think that he might be a gun enthusiast, which there's nothing wrong with that. It was just funny that he mentioned it specifically. I would say things not to talk about would be politics, religion, especially for the people that aren't American, because I know in other countries you take religion a lot more lightly than America does. So, like, talking certain ways about religion could lead you into a fight. I would say there was something else. Politics, religion, I guess certain social issues you might want to kind of stay away from, but then again, that might be politics as well. Even though it shouldn't be politics, but it might be politics as well. For me, stay the hell away from Star Wars. I don't want to hear it. Don't talk about Star Wars unless you want to have an argument. Unless, of course, you're in my camp. If you're in the camp of you think the new Disney movies are good, I don't want to hear it. Stay away from me. We're having an argument. I want to hear it. Luke Skywalker is number one forever. But, well, Anakin Skywalker is number one forever for me. Luke is a very close number two, maybe. But, yeah, stay away from that entire topic. Also, the PlayStation versus Xbox discussions, stay away from them. Leading to an argument. The Michael Jordan versus LeBron James arguments, stay away from them. Might lead to an argument.
Now, my next note for you is don't assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look, the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff.
It's funny how you put him on blast like that.
So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there.
As a black person, I stay as far away from the plantation homes as possible.
Or going to San Francisco or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess...
Okay, so people are different. Cultures tend to be somewhat different. Now, I did mention in a previous video that America doesn't really have a culture outside of South and the West. And when I was talking about that, I was talking about, like, the South has a rather unique culture. I don't think there's... When I say culture, I'm talking about, like, you won't find it anywhere else in the world. Like, Southern America culture is unique. You're not going to find that anywhere else in the world. Western America culture is unique. You're not going to find that anywhere else in the world. As far as like the cowboys and the whole motif with that. Everywhere else in America is pretty much like a piece of other countries. Like, you could talk about Boston, New York, and all these other places. They're very much like other places. You could probably make an argument for like Philadelphia and stuff that has like, that's rooted in, you know, the American Revolutionary War and things like that, like the original founding fathers and patriots and everything. You could probably make an argument for that, but at that time we were just a British colony, the culture at the time was still the exact same as what it was going on in Britain, so it's not that different. But yeah, that's what I meant when I said America doesn't really have a culture. Like everything that America does have is like other pieces of other countries that have like just kind of like morphed a bit. So it's like it's the same thing, but it's just slightly different.
So I would say another don't is don't assume there's no culture in the U.S. because there are a lot of cultural centers out there.
I
If
talked
you go
about this
down
because I
New
knew this was
Orleans,
coming.
You see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston. Here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest, with Chicago, Milwaukee,
Everywhere
you go
has
to the West
museums.
Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here.
That's
Historic
New York.
culture with the
That's
Native
West
Americans, or
America.
more recent
That's
culture
unique.
here. I mean, you have all that here. You can.
Is Vincent Van Gogh even American? I don't think he was. I could be wrong. I should know this, but yeah, I don't think these are museums.
Really take in, and saying there's no culture in the U.S., it's not really true because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums like the Art Institute of Chicago or the Met in New York.
Like I
the
said,
Getty in
museums
LA.
aren't
There's
unique
all
to
kinds
America.
of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that. Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you, these kind of things in the U.S., it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say this, everyone asks me how I'm doing. When I try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying, how are you? Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's like in France, ça va, ça va. How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good? You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So don't think it's an actual question, all right?
That is kind of true. I say kind of true because for me, it's a bit different. When I say, how are you doing? I'm initially saying it. If you play cards, you people know this. When you play certain card games, aces go both ways. They can be a high number or they can be a low number depending on the situation that you want to use it in. For me, how are you is just like that. It has multiple meanings. When I say how are you to somebody, when I initially say it, I'm saying just hi. But if I say how are you and like somebody else says, oh, I'm doing, how are you doing? And I just like move on and they go, hey, you ain't gonna talk back. That's when that how are you from before transforms from a hi to a, oh, I was wondering how your day was. Because at that point I'll turn around and be like, well, I said how are you, but you didn't say anything really back, so I just kept moving forward. Like that, I'll transform it. Like originally it meant hi, but since you want to add extra to it, oh no, I did ask you how you were doing. You didn't want to elaborate on it, so I just kept moving.
Now, another don't I have for you is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money
This
for
is
this
out of
hotel.
my range.
I'm probably going to get
Don't
nicer
know.
stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi. Oh, no. For some reason in the U.S., it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast.
I can count on one hand how many times I've been to a hotel that offers breakfast. So I don't... Yeah, this is outside of my information range. Do what you will with it.
So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the U.S. and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice. So don't expect that from the fancy hotels. Another don't I have for you is don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New England. We're here in Connecticut. We've been having lobster and clams and oh my God, New England clam chowder. Oh, my tummy is just like, more. It's fantastic. And when I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese, barbecue. Oh my God. The food in the different regions in the U.S. are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally owned and operated restaurants so you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owner is the ones helping you out. And that is really kind of a cool thing.
Yes, if you're going to go to get some food in America, go to the mom and pop places, the little small areas or the small places that aren't chain restaurants where they have like a bunch of franchises everywhere. Go to the places that are just like there's only one in the world. You'll run into a lot of those types of restaurants in America. The best way to find them is to, wherever you happen to be at, just open up your map app, or I'll say Google Maps because I know for sure they have this feature. Open up Google Maps and look up food near me, or there's a food section. Click on that and it'll pull up all the restaurants that are close by. Look for the areas that are mom and pop that have a lot of high reviews, but it's just a one-off thing. There's only one place like it. And you'll have, they always have the best food because their stuff is always homemade. It's not like most chain restaurants where they just like will take some type of freeze-dried meat and throw it in some type of thing that just heats it up and, ships it out the door within like 5 minutes. The mom and pop places usually take longer. Sometimes they can be slightly more expensive, but you will get an amazing meal. Also, the thing about what he said about regional exclusive food, that's kind of true, but there's two aspects to it. There's region exclusive and there's cultural exclusive. So certain region exclusive stuff, like if you go to North Carolina or Kansas City, you might get like signature barbecues. Wisconsin has like signature cheeses. What was I about to say? Northeast, they have like, they're known for their seafood. There's a lot of places that are known for specific things. Depending on who you talk to, whether it's New York or Chicago, they're known for their pizzas. And I know New York has some amazing hot dogs with the Nathan stuff and everything. So that's region exclusive. But then there's cultural exclusive. There are like people from Asian countries can't come to America and they make like foods that aren't really available in Asian countries, but they're like unique to Asian America. So you want to get some of that. Black America, we have something we call soul food, where you get the fried chicken and the collard greens and the mashed potatoes and cornbread and did I say macaroni and cheese? All the like stuff like that, amazing. And then you have the Italian American exclusive foods, and then you have the did I already say Mexican American exclusive foods? Because there's that too. They have a ton of Mexican foods that aren't necessarily the same as like going straight to Mexico. They're exclusive to America in a way, but they're delicious. So go out there, explore as much food as you can, and you'll have a ball. America is like a giant deluxe mall with a ton of different like kiosks and stores that you can try out. All the stores are different from each other, but they're all like available in one spot. So you'll be able to have a big opportunity to like test out different things in America if you really want to experience it.
Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the U.S. is insanely expensive. And just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right? So if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or trip insurance. So in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now, you might have to pay it first and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive, okay? So make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that...
Hold up, 1 second. I'm going to talk about that too. Yes, that is 100% true. America has a horrible healthcare policy, plan, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're like in America, if you end up getting hurt or sick and you need a ride in an ambulance, you could spend up to like $300 to $500 just for an ambulance ride alone. I had a situation where I have a chronic stomach issue, and I've gone to gastroenterologists and things like that to have it checked out. I have had situations where I've gone to the specialists for them to check my stomach out. They literally they don't do anything. They don't tell me anything. It's like they'll hear out all the symptoms and stuff I'm giving them. Then they'll give me like a recommendation. Oh, well, I think it might be this. They don't do any x-rays or anything like that. And then next thing you know, I got a bill for like $400 for them to tell me nothing. One situation, I had a doctor tell me to get a particular product from just a regular store shelf, like just a regular item off a regular store shelf. Still had to pay him hundreds of dollars for that information. Like, at this point, it's like, you're spending a lot of, like, it gets to the point where you don't even want to go to the doctor anymore because you know, okay, I could go to the doctor and I could possibly end up feeling better afterwards, but then I'll be stuck in debt for the next couple months. So do I go out and try to get better, or do I, keep this money and just save it for something I would actually need it on? It's tough. Like, there are certain situations where you will literally have to debate between getting better or going bankrupt. That's how bad it can get. In certain situations, if you get sick outside of your control, like let's say you just develop something and it requires you going to the doctor multiple times, well, yeah, you might as well file bankruptcy because you're going to be screwed after that. Even though you had nothing to do with, like, that decision is something you have to do if you want to live. Yeah, we need to try to get some type of socialized medicine in America as soon as possible. Only problem is, whenever you mention the word social, people automatically jump to communism, despite the fact that I guarantees people couldn't define what communism is if you asked them, but they'll swear it's communism, and really it's just a bunch of buzzwords that people like to throw around to try to keep the current system, the current status quo in effect, and the more elites and the people that make a lot of money would prefer that because they make a lot of money with the current healthcare system, and they would lose a lot with socialized medicine. So they'll get their followers and stuff to believe this stuff about how socialized medicine is like a step towards communism, and even though it is against the voters' best interests, they will come out and say how they don't want it because they heard that it does this and that, and it's a step towards this and that and that, and they'll continue to pay the hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to go see a doctor and stuff. If you have job insurance, you don't have to pay as much, but as soon as you have to visit a specialist or something, it becomes a wrap. But anyway, let's finish this up.
People actually got mad at me when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states. And they said, no, the U.S. has 52 states. Look, don't think the U.S. has 52 states. The U.S. has 50
I have no idea where
states,
this came from.
Okay, just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school, they told me 52. No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? So those are our don'ts for visiting the U.S. What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S. just so we can get things going. Anyway, if you like videos like this, we have stuff on what the don'ts of going to Russia, the don'ts of going to Germany, the don'ts of going to Brazil and things like that. And we really like helping travelers with honest travel advice. So if you like this video, do click that subscribe button. It means a lot to us, and we put new travel videos out every Wednesday and Saturday to help great travelers just like you.
Okay, I have no idea where the whole 52 states thing came from. If anybody have like an idea like where they might have, like if you've heard that, where you might have heard it, be sure to go in the comment section down below and let me know, because I've never heard anybody say anything about 52. I heard Barack Obama slip up one time and say 57 states, but I imagine that was a slip up. I think Donald Trump might have also messed up at some point, but again, that was likely just a slip up. All I can imagine is maybe they're confusing U.S. territories with states. Like maybe they include Puerto Rico and Guam in the 52 thing. There's still some other territories though too, like American Samoa and U.S. Virgin Islands. So I don't know why they didn't say 54, but that's something small though. That easily can get corrected. Like, yeah, there are only 50 states, 58 in the mainland, and Alaska and Hawaii. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to provide some additional information along with this video. It still ended up being an hour long. That was not my intention, but whatever. I got the information I needed out. That's all that mattered. So technically this would be a podcast almost. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I will probably check out more videos like this, videos where I can give my opinion on something from an American perspective, whether it's something that is related to other countries or something that is related to America, and I can give you like a second opinion on it. Because I like these types of videos because it engages me a lot more than certain other videos where you're just watching it and then just giving your opinion on what you watched. This is something that like I can go back and forth with. This and the video from Korean Billy and things like that. Like those types of videos I like because they get me talking and going back and forth a lot more. Hell, if I can get a situation where I have somebody sit over here with me and I can talk with them and just go back and forth, hell, I can get a podcast going. But anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, Wolters World's icon will pop up right over here the last 30 seconds. If you want to check out more of their content, click on it and it'll take you to the channel. Watch, like, subscribe, the other good stuff. The original link for this video is in the description box down below. If you want to check that out, be sure to click it and follow along. But until then, I'm Devon DaVinci. I hope you've been enlightened. Like, comment, subscribe, all the other good stuff. I'm going to give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Deuces.